Hello, everyone. On today's show, we will take some time to talk about the impact of AI technology in our lives. I'm Daniel,
I'm Matheus.
and this is the Human AI Experience. We'll be right back. So there's a lot of discussion of how if we're in the middle of a revolution with the AI taking the headlines the last couple of years, the last 2 years, I guess, this people have been talking about this. So I've seen not just one, but a lot of people talking about or comparing the AI area with the invention of the smartphone, the internet, and even the computers, how those technology inventions took humanity into big leaps of evolution. And I think we're experiencing, seeing one happening now, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I feel that you mentioned really well. Do you remember when we didn't had smartphone? Do you remember how was it our lives? And even actually, I can bring it a little bit back more than the smartphone. Do you remember when we only had phones at home, and then we didn't
Yeah.
had ways of communicating without it? So I feel that this the whole life changed through that. And I'm just talking about smartphones and phones like cell phones, or and I believe we were already born in a in a family or in an environment, so we already have computers when we were kids. Though we were super lucky about it. But it's, even though it's hard to think how was life before that, you know.
Yeah, when you experience something, it's hard to notice, right? It's easy to just see the dramatic impact that it was the invention of the computer. If you look back, how that basically optimized and allowed for society to operate like this, like today. The internet, like doing things like globally with instantaneously. It
Yeah,
was also a dramatic evolution. Like you could, buy things online. You could suddenly talk to people in different places, and then you already have like a connected global world, and then all of a sudden now you had the smartphone that basically allows for everybody to have internet 24/7 on their pockets. Like you
yeah,
carry the internet with you. So it is quite crazy. There have been gigantic leaps, and now we're seeing the next phase of that, where you might end up having like an AI assistant, or
yeah,
I'm just speculating here, but
yeah.
we don't know how that's gonna dramatically change things, but you can already see this powering. Maybe your smartphone will become a beacon or you will have an AI assistant that will execute tasks for you, will do different things
Yeah,
for
but you
you.
know what I was thinking, like when the smartphone came out, like there was a new market coming, like all the apps were created through that. And then if you imagine, like uh, after, for example, Instagram and YouTube and all this, there's so many people that work through that, you know. Through we are doing like a podcast that weren't being able to be done before the internet or before a smartphone, I believe. Before smartphone, yeah, there was some podcasts, but they were totally different. They weren't that much accessible. You needed to download it and listen online, and sometimes it was hard to put it in the MP3 players. Do you remember that technology? I was always running out of space, you know, full of music in
Yeah.
the MP3 player. So I feel that it's gonna happen the same. From now on, some of the professions that we already know, like they're gonna disappear, and some of them are gonna we're gonna see new professions being created, you know. For example, prompt designer or prompt engineer, I don't know how you can call it, this new function. But this is really interesting. I'm excited to see what's gonna come in, because we're still in the middle of this revolution, I believe.
Yeah, right now it is easy because we are kind of inserted into this wave, right? We've been reading and getting a lot of information about AI, so it distorts our reality as well a little bit. But most of the world don't know about this. Like, don't maybe heard about AI, but haven't experienced it, haven't they haven't gone and tested out those tools, and we're still in the early phase, like the early adopter phase, where they're usually in business, in a product life cycle, you have like the early adopters, then you grow, like the early adopters grow, and then all of a sudden it reaches
The peak.
mainstream
Yeah.
audiences, it peaks, and then it starts like declining or evolving into something else, or it becomes a commodity, right? So everybody, like
Yeah.
computers today, most everybody knows what it is and uses everywhere. Like we're basically that's it became like a commodity. So we're in the early stages, so that's why it's so interesting, and it's uncharted territory. So we don't know what's going to happen in the near future. We can only assume and try to identify trends, right? Where everybody's going. And you mentioned that there's going to be some new jobs that will be totally related to AI. There is a lot of demand for AI engineers. So basically, people that are building these AI infrastructures, or they are training AI models. There's a lot of demand for that already, but they are still. I haven't seen, at least they've been seen that they've been called different, like a AI engineer, or they're just developers or software engineers. I haven't seen that yet, but we're
Yeah.
definitely gonna start seeing more and more.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel the models that you talk and you express yourself, like in through text or through the verbal language, they might gonna change the way we use things. For example, instead of like just text, people are just gonna send a voicemail like, hey Siri, just write this for me and that, and then stuff like that. Of course, my Siri came out when I said Siri, but
Of course.
but these things are gonna be more and more used. I feel that people don't, even though we have Siri for a couple of years, the use of Siri is not that much like common as they expected, I think.
But it's also not very efficient, right? I think there was a
Yeah.
promise that it would be a much more efficient assistant, but it never
Yeah.
never got there, unfortunately. Until, this week, where Apple announced their Apple Intelligence system, that is promising to actually give Siri a breath of fresh air, where hopefully will be better and more efficient. But let's see. We just need to test that and see if it's actually going to be the case. But one of the things that you mentioned, it was in regards to, we're basically moving, or there's signs that we're moving from a graphical interface. So basically, you're looking and typing and telling computers to do things by typing or by using an interface, graphical interface, to a conversational interface.
Yeah.
There's a lot of debate if that's actually where we're going, because
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like I do feel still a bit odd by talking to a computer in public spaces. And I guess a lot of people feel that way, but maybe that's just the way how we feel today. And then maybe if that becomes the norm, then everybody's going to do that.
I think
But
we're
it
just becoming
seems
old.
that's true. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a sign of age.
Yeah, because I feel strange because there's some teenagers dancing around in the public, like as it is normal nowadays because of TikTok and stuff like that. So maybe the way we're already feeling the way that people are changing their behavior through apps and through other like even the consumption of media changed so much. I don't watch TV anymore. No, I basically watch YouTube and some podcasts on that and on the platform. So I don't relate more with the previous generation. That they watch it telenovelas or they watch the TV shows and stuff, and even the news. There was a religion and watching the news the same time every day, talking about the same stuff. And now you can personalize your own way of living. So you can say like, I know that this podcast is gonna come out on Monday, so I will listen this one on Monday, this one on Tuesday. I will see that video that I like from that creator on Wednesday. So things are already changing that way. So I feel that it's gonna happen the same through AI. We're not be able to understand because we're still facing the same interface as I mentioned, like the graphical interface is still. So ChatGPT I still use as text, but I know that they launched a new conversational tool.
Yeah,
This might be
ChatGPT
the turning point. Yeah.
Yeah, ChatGPT 4.0 or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it, it just seems natural that they're going that way, right, as well, to have a conversational interface as well. Um, yeah, it's exciting times. I think it's going to be interesting to keep monitoring and seeing what's happening and then where we're and try to identify where we're going.
So talking about the use of AI, like it's interesting to see how ChatGPT grow. Like it's so fast. In 5 days after the launching their app, they reach million users. 1 million users, and I think it's the fastest tool launched that reached million users. I think the second one was TikTok, and it take like more than double. Like it take like 20 days or something like that, which is already impressive. So in 25 days, ChatGPT reached 100 million users. And this is interesting to think we go back a little bit as we were doing this analysis of the technologies being like the internet took like 7 years to reach 100 million users, which is it's a lot less. So we're definitely in the middle of a revolution, even though like 100 million users are not like significant if you compare to the human population. There are 8 billion people, but it is really impressive like to reach 100 million users in 25 days.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's crazy. Like in less than a month, they had 100 million users. It's definitely, you know, a milestone. And I think one of the reasons, and we discussed this before, like one of the reasons I believe they reached that so fast is because it's very easy to use. It's basically a chat. Everybody's since the beginning of the internet, everybody's used to use it to just type and talk to people on chats. So I think for them to reach this number of users so fast is because they made it very accessible and very easy to use, even though I guess not like we discussed that we're still in the early adopter phase. So there's not a lot of people giving a go, even though it is the bar is very low for you to start using. There's no excuse for not trying.
Yeah, and as an open source, it creates so much opportunities. I see like some companies taking the base of ChatGPT and then creating their own like tools, which is really interesting. uh, this might be a turning point for more people to use it, because there's still a debate, like if you can use it, ChatGPT, in your work, for example. You have a lot of sensitive data that you don't want to share with everyone, So um, this is a discussion that it might be a reason of not spreading that much that as fast as it could, in the world.
Yeah, exactly. I've been, hearing a lot of entrepreneurs, and there are some companies that are starting to offer enterprise AI solutions for companies, but the there is a long path because a lot of companies, especially the big one, the medium and big ones, they are risk averse, and there's a lot of risks with and unknowns with AI today. So that prevents some of the companies to adopt it really fast. So we're gonna see the adoption as those tools get better and better, and they start hallucinating less, and they become more reliable, and then they stop lying a lot, because a lot of those tools you cannot take for granted what they write. So you
Yeah.
always need to check and double check, because a lot of the times they just go nuts and then start doing telling you a lot of bunch of lies with a lot of certainty. So it's good to double check every time you use those, especially if you want to grab some information that you, or if you're asking for a specific information.
But if you think about it, it might be because of the data available for these AIs. They are like through the whole internet. So you can have, for example, Reddit. I think there's something with Google that there's some problems with that. So
Yeah.
they're taken from not 100% trustworthy sources, you know. So maybe the solution, especially for companies, is to build their own AI. You know, for example, build their own ChatGPT, or like I saw that in some consulting companies, they're already building their own chats. And the idea of behind it, it's really nice because you can create your assistant for specific reasons. You know, like usually consulting the consulting companies, they work a lot with like tenders for municipalities. So they have so much work that it can be standardized, that if you have a like a 10 years of these standards, you know, to feed the AI, maybe you can write something that it's pretty much what you need, you know, in a fastest way. So maybe that's a way of controlling or to trying to guide the AI for the right purpose, you know.
Yeah, and making it private or running in your own uh, company or in your own cloud or in
Server.
your own system, yeah, in your own server is it might be the way to go, but we'll see. Maybe there's going to be some companies that will offer some level of privacy, like you supposedly have with a lot of big cloud servers today, but
Yeah.
everything is subject to hacking. So it's a I think we're gonna see this conversation, and then we're going to observe how things are going and how companies will adopt this in the near future.
Yeah, and but these concerns, I think they bring this kind of potential of losing jobs. You know, the people that this concern. For example, if you automatize like a process, maybe people will lose their jobs because their jobs are kind of standardized. You know, but I believe we're gonna adapt to a different usage. You know, because we need. I think these tools are unprecedented. They need to be used. You know, like because they make it everything easier. Why would I lose like one day to write like a page of a tender if I can do it like in seconds with the same or similar quality? You know, it's not that you are not taking the human in consideration, because you still need to review it and compare, you know, and make it fit in what you need. But it can make it maybe 80% of the work, you know.
Stupid question. What is a tender? Is like an architectural specific term
Yeah,
for a
tender
document?
is like when you apply for public service. You know, for example, if you apply to do projects in a municipality, for example, or a new neighborhood that the municipality wants to create, all the infrastructure around it, and then they put it a tender, like, so they make opportunity for companies to apply and try to get these projects. You know, I'm
Oh, I
talking
see. I see.
only on the perspective of architecture, because that's my background, but it extends to any kind of public services that we can or the municipalities can hire. You know?
Mhm.
So if they need, I don't know, maybe some consulting for a process in IT. You know, I don't know. They can hire for that. So they use for many different purposes. But
Yeah, so it's basically a document or like a proposal that they open up to companies for them to quote and pitch their services, basically.
yeah, and usually they're so standardized. For example, they ask you to write stuff like these, and then the processes to be like super like uh, detailed. Like, and some of the details they're the same in all the projects, you know. But you need to clarify that, and you need to put it on paper because it's a kind of a contract or that you're sending to them. You know? You are saying that I will do this process like following these steps. So this kind of steps, you know, why not use some database that you already have? You know, uh, I did some tenders in Brazil, and we used to copy the old ones, you know. But if you do it manually, you need to search manually to the sources. And how much time did you lose like doing that, you know? So that's the kind of like fastest process that can be done by an AI.
Yeah, you know, productivity is definitely one of the areas uh, that we will definitely see it happening or growing in adoption across the globe. Um, so we're reaching the end of our episode, but like I think we wanted to cover a little bit and talk a little bit about AI assisted versus non AI. So what does that mean? At least this is my personal opinion. I think that in the near future, you're not necessarily going to lose your job to AI, but you're going to lose your job to somebody using AI because
Yeah,
the way these professionals will work and how fast they will be able to deliver results will 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 be impossible to compete. So I guess now it's the time to start learning these tools, at least understanding their concept and what you can use, and you start using on a daily basis. There's a lot you can automatize or get help from AI. It could be summarizing emails, grammar
yeah.
checking your text. There's a lot of small use cases that you can already start doing now and today and playing with it and see what is the result.
So you were saying to me that you were building your own RD2 D2, R2 D2, or
What?
C3PO, your own C3PO and R2 D2.
Well, C3PO was supposed to, I think he he knew 1,000 languages across the
Yeah,
galaxy. So yeah, ChatGPT is close to
exactly.
that. Having your own personal droid from Star Wars.
Yeah,
I mean, you can create a ChatGPT bot and name it C3PO if you want.
yeah. I think I will do that the next time.
Any closing thoughts?
I think we cover most of the ideas about how the impact of AI it's growing and how we envision like this idea of the transformation towards the future. You know, because it's still quite open because we don't know what's going to be done like in the next couple of years or how the technology will evolve from what we have right now. So we are working with the scenario that we have in 2024. So if you're listening that in the future, we might be wrong in a lot of points. But
Definitely.
it's
I
just,
mean,
yeah,
that's the exercise, right? We want
yeah,
to we're trying to learn and try to identify where these things are going, but it's, you know, you can't predict the future. So it's going to be interesting to see how wrong we're going to be in a couple of years or even in a couple of months, because those things are evolving so fast that we might be proving wrong in a couple of months.
yeah, yeah, that's true. But I think that's the exercise here, just to understand the practicalities that we see, and we see how it can improve our daily life and our jobs. Like so I feel that that's those discussions will take many episodes. I think we're gonna probably like take other aspects of it and then discuss it with you, and then test different AIs. So that's interesting to see the perspective for the future is to actually update this information when it's gonna happen. That's the beauty of this podcast, I think.
Yeah. Uh, let's learn together. Let's explore these tools together, and then we can always discuss here. And of course, if you have any questions for us, you can always reach out to us at hello@humanAIXP.com or connect with us on Instagram at humanAIXP. So yeah, we want to start getting your perspective and answer your burning questions on special episodes. So please reach out. We want to hear from you. Okay, let's wrap up. If you're interested in how AI is evolving and how you can introduce it in your life or your work, subscribe to our podcast in your favorite podcast service and follow us for more. Let's explore AI together. Thanks for listening. See you next time.